questions.
Thank you, Senator Tillis. Let me recognize Senator Kaine and thank him for his patience.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and what a distinguished panel. And I just want to weigh in on the nomination of Carlos Del Toro to be Secretary of the Navy. I was so pleased to have my senior senator, Mark Warner, here to do the introduction. Mr. Del Toro and his family have been close friends of mine for quite a long time, and I echo everything that Mark said about the professional qualifications, the patriotism, and most especially the character of this nominee. And I look forward to supporting you and as you continue your public service to the country and to all of you. This is a uniquely qualified panel. Mr. Del Toro, I want to really focus my questions on you. As you know, the Navy is so important to Virginia. And I think Senator Cotton may have touched on this issue. After the collisions of the McCain and Fitzgerald in 2017, the Navy reinstated surface warfare officer training programs that in 2003 had been sort of moved to, I don't know exactly how I would describe it. They weren't so much the in-person training programs as they had been pre-2003, and it was more materials that were submitted to surface warfare officers so that they would become familiar with them. And the study of those tragic collisions, there was a decision made to sort of return back to a more robust surface warfare officer training. And so we've done that. But the surface warfare environment has changed so dramatically in the last 20 or 25 years. Commercial shipping has gone up about, I think, 250% globally since the mid-1990s. There's now GPS spoofing that can mess around with navigational accuracy on surface ships and others. The areas of congestion in sea lanes are not now limited to a couple of places in the world. Congestion is much more common all over the world. And so I guess I'd like to ask you, with the experience that you had as a surface warfare officer, including being the commander of a destroyer, what would your approach be to making sure that the surface warfare officer training component is every bit a match for the kinds of training that is, sub-officers or Navy aviators do? How would you approach that topic, which I know you're so familiar with it?
Thanks for raising this incredibly important issue, Senator. As I said earlier, sailors and Marines have been going down to the ships since the beginning of our Navy, and they are the backbone of our Navy in so many different ways. I was blessed perhaps by a quite robust training pipeline for our junior officers as they first entered the fleet. I do believe that the model that has been implemented again by the Navy post-2017 is the right model. It has the dedicated resources that are necessary to properly train our junior officers in the very basics of ship handling and rules of the road and proper operations of the equipments that are necessary to keep these platforms safe and to be able to effectively fight them as well, too. So I'm actually quite inspired by the changes that have been made in our surface Navy over the course of the last 4 years since those two very tragic incidents. And let me simply add that I will, if confirmed, always carry the memories of, and the honor of the lives that were lost in those incidents with me as a constant reminder of our solemn responsibility to our Americans who served in the military.
Thank you, Mr. Del Toro. Mr. Cisneros, congratulations. I do have a question for you to follow up Senator Tillis. I completely agree with Senator Tillis that in the area of sexual assault, sexual harassment, that prevention is key. And I'll be self-critical. I think we spend more time here thinking about the important topic of investigation, analysis, prosecution, consequences, but we don't spend the time on prevention. I'm going to leave after this questioning to go to a help committee hearing where there's a President Biden nominee for a key position in the Department of Education. Similarly, in that committee, we spent a lot of time on Title IX procedures. What is the right way on a college campus or a K-12 campus that complaints of sexual assault or harassment should be investigated, and what should the standard be, and what rights should folks have, and what should the consequences be. We need to spend time on those things. But we spend so little time talking about prevention. And if you look at who are most likely to be victimized by sexual assault or harassment, it's more likely to happen when you're in the 18 to 24-year-old age range, whether you're in the military, on a campus, at a high school, in the workplace, out in society. This is a problem that anyone can experience, but the most acute time where you're at risk is in sort of 18 to 24, and many perpetrators are also in that same age range. So I would just say, as I conclude, my time is up, that I really agree with Senator Tillis that all of us, this side of the dais, your side of the dais, we need to spend more time on the prevention side of this and look at best practices that are out there and figure out how to replicate them. So I hope